Okay, we need to have a honest discussion about the future of PSO2 New Genesis, and not that about the game dying or anything, because it not, let's be honest, it not gonna die to Sega pull the plug. Stagnation, yes. Successful? Well, that up to Sega to decide. What I want to talk about is, of course, what did it mean for the community of content creation, as well as the viewership that might be watching this video, or enjoy anyone else's videos, or maybe you enjoy some screenshot, maybe just in general, just stuff being made around NGS and PSO2 as a whole here, because this is a discussion that's been rattling around in my head for a while, and I want to have a more in-depth discussion about this. And right out of the gate, I want to go ahead and say everything we're going to talk about today, I'm going to be using a lot of people as example, including myself here, and of course, no disrespect to any of the content creators at all. So be peaceful, and of course I will have link below to every content creator I'm going to mention in that video, so be sure to go give them some love. But with that being said, welcome back to your #1 stop for PSO2 New Genesis gameplay, how-tos, and of course depression discussions that we all need to honestly have. And of course, I do want to give a quick thank you to everybody that is supporting over on Patreon as well as Twitch, and hitting that wonderful join button here on YouTube. And of course, if you do want to help out on the Patreon, a link will be below as well to get your name listed here. And of course, I do want to give a big shout out to 1K, who is supporting at the Luna tier. And with that, let's go ahead, let's get into this. Let's discuss, well, the future of PSO when it comes to content creation. So to start off here, something that I've been pretty much picking up on, not only on my channel, but as well as a lot of other content creation channels as well when it comes to YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter for screenshots and whatnot, is of course not only that the game is stagnating, but no one really cares about NGS content anymore. Also, it seems for the time being. I know we go through slumps all the time, but let's be real here when it comes to this. There will always hit a point where we will have a decent amount of player playing, but when it comes to the game itself, it does very much feel like it's stagnating to the point of the player we are getting are very limited or lack great Hawaii, obviously, with the release of the PS4 version, and well, we get that Nintendo Switch streaming version, or whatever the net Nintendo console might be, a version of NGS and PSO. Now, not really going to be any more great Hawaii for this, because let's be honest, the players that are playing are the people that is playing it, who are enjoying it, and will continue to play it to whatever point, as well as the core people that will hop back in to play updates that will bump up the player base a bit as well. But also the other thing to keep in mind here when it comes to this stuff is, of course, the player base is not just theme. We are not talking about just that. Of course, you can get your hands on NGS on many platforms, PS4, PS5, Xbox, as well as Epic, of course, theme, and whatnot. So the player base itself is scattered across many platforms here in the West. But with that being said, though, when it comes to creating content, well, let's just go ahead and jump into some examples here. So what ended up getting me going down that rabbit hole and just dwelling over this for the last few weeks, if not like a month or two, is of course with my channel. Let's start off with me as an example here, and then we will go any farther down that rabbit hole. Is of course my channel itself is setting at a little over 3,000 subscribers with 3,492, which honestly, thank you all for subscribing on that end. Be sure to do that if you haven't already. But with that being said, when it comes to the viewership on my videos, since my videos are all pretty much at that point, I would say, 99%, 98% PSO related, is of course you will start noticing something happening here. Of course, over the last 90 days, the viewerships itself have been pretty much sticking around 1,000, a little over, going down to about 800 or so. I give or take on days, except for that one where it got down to 600 when I'm not able to post. But I do try to post video pretty much every other day, if possible, to every, I get 2 days. But that being said, pretty much 1,000 is, well, we are setting. And of course, the main thing that what's noticeable about this is that is extremely low for the most part, because that is spread out over multiple videos on PSO, as well as a handful of little odds and ends ones here and there. And then I started noticing offhand when I started looking at some of the official content creator for PSO, that is, of course, greenlit by Sega here, or approved by Sega. Once again, this only holds so much weight here because, let's be honest here, Sega and its official creators is more feel more like a competition, not so much as a actually rewarding content creator or working with content creator. It seemed to just be like a rotation door of people coming and going, since Sega does rotate people out and then people come back later, if at all. But nonetheless, like looking at all the content creators that are listing here, as you can see, a handful of them are made up going between Twitch and YouTube, obviously leaning way more on Twitch. But as far as YouTube itself is concerned, let's go ahead and just start off by looking at some of these channels. So to start off, one of the first things out of the gate you will notice here when it comes to a lot of these channels is, of course, when it comes to making content here, the numbers are fairly decent on par. As a here with a naughty guy having less than 100 subs, with the last video being a month ago on PSO. Then we, of course, have Romney the Witch, which have only 2 videos, no PSO, 6 subs, 53 subs here with Keith Dilthorpe. Once again, if I'm butchering the name, I am sorry. But only a handful of videos here with a handful of PSO, mainly 2. But to keep going through these, you will start noticing, such as the end here, we'll be getting around 300 to 2,000 views on a little over 1K. We got 500 sub here from Dragon. That is, of course, PSO content. It's toward in here at roughly 38. And, of course, so on and so on. Any with someone a little closer to my side of a little over 2,000 here with the Ninjito. Once again, I am so sorry if I'm butchering your guy's name, which you're only getting roughly about 57, 61. And of course, looking at content roughly almost every day, roughly here, peaking out at like 170 and so on here. Right along with, of course, more content creator here with less than 1,000, hitting, well, really not doing much PSO related stuff here for the time being, which is understandable since there's not a lot going on. Getting into Critical Cat Q here, hitting anywhere from about 800 to about 2K. Once again, as you can see, there are a few videos here that will peak around 5 total, but as you can tell, is like very similar-ish to the viewership I am getting. And of course, as we get into some of the bigger content creators here, such as Corno, with 8K sub, we start seeing about the same, pretty much around 135. And you can honestly, as you can tell here, you can start seeing a pattern happening here with, of course, content creator under 2,000 getting, a couple hundred views here, and then at for like 2,000 to 3,000 getting roughly up to 1,000 to 5,000, which kind of makes sense that will be the case here. But the thing is that we'll also start getting a little more interesting as we continue on and we start getting into like Quopy, which, let's be honest, Quopy is the biggest content creator for PSO that really exclusively make content for PSO. And then when it comes to Quopy videos, you would know that as someone with 55,000 subscribers, it roughly hitting on par with us down here in the 2,000 to 3,000 range, with roughly 2,000 to 4,000. Once again, there would always a few exceptions here, as some with 7, some with 14, which not surprising at 55, but the part that is surprising is, of course, the viewership on a regular video being roughly on par with me and a few other people, which honestly start betting some question. We will get to any with trip shopping with 6 and hitting 2, 4, 1, and so on here. And then, of course, we do have 1K with, well, the last PSO video, once again, hitting around a little under 1K to a little over 1K. So as you can see, these are some interesting numbers to look at. Any coming from the official cradles, that it seemed like, honestly, any at a larger scale such as Quopy is only really getting, 1, 3, 5,000, maybe special day 14, which that don't beg the question here. How healthy is that as a whole for all but content creators, especially all but that is doing it for a living and trying to pay some bills? Because let's be honest, kind of important to pay some bills around here. So it don't seem me a little bit worrisome here, because let's be totally honest here when it comes to content creation, at all like people covering the PSO. Is a lot of content creators that cover MMO, cover other games, or just make content in general, is right now when the bigger channels such as Quopy is only getting that small amount of margin, that pretty much is killing any motivation for any future content creator to come in here. Don't get me wrong, if you want to make video for fun, 100% understand, do it, enjoy it. I am not bashing it in that way. It's just one of them cases of when you are looking at it from a job perspective and you're looking at such games as PSO or other MMO to cover. PSO don't really offer a lot of incentive, and then not counting the way Sega treat content creator when it comes to the official creator club being a rotation, like giveaway type of deal. Well, hopefully that changes in the near future, but once again, cross our finger, knock on some wood, and hope for the best on that. But at the time of that video anyway, it doesn't really seem like Sega is adding any motivation either. And let all be honest with ourselves here, no matter how you feel about content creation at a quill, if we don't have a new player coming in that is being showed off by the bigger content creators, there is not really a lot that's going to actually bring in players at that point, because, well, Sega go out and way to start paying people to play PSO, which they probably won't at that point, at least in the West anyway. Japan is a whole nother discussion, which we will get into, but for over here in the West, that doesn't really seem to be a thing that's going to really happen, outside of a few they did around the launch of NGS. And with that being said, let's go ahead and look at how many people actually making content outside of the official Cradle Club. So here we are, just using a called PSO2 NGS as an example. I will show some other ones as well. We're looking at videos that were made in that month, a called video, as well as view count here. And the one thing you will start noticing here is obviously a lot of Japanese video. Once again, makes sense, which we will go more into. But as we are looking more on the western side, we of course have Quopy, more Quopy, Cactus, and any more Japanese, and then a few videos here from the official NGS YouTube. And of course, as you can see, once again, the majority, like Quopy, one other content creator, and then a whole bunch of Japanese content creators. So obviously, which makes sense, PSO have always been bigger in Japan because they do have that legacy over there. Well, here in the West, it's been a very on and off again relationship when it comes to PSO as a whole here. Since, as you all know, we got Universal PSO2, we barely got, if it wasn't for Microsoft stepping in, shoving a whole bunch of money Sega way. PSO, as well as NGS, will probably honestly never would have come to America, which in return is something that makes somewhat sense, especially the way PSU ended up going. But with that being said, this is something that I am personally, like, not only as a PSO content creator, but also being a worry for pretty much the community as a whole for content, because let's be honest here, the way that seems, the way Sega treating the global side, good or bad, depending on how you want to look at it, let's be honest, we would have never got NGS, we would have never got PSO2 if it wasn't for Microsoft stepping in, which in return, with the way Sega continued to treat content creator and as well as the player base here in the West, let me will here. Like, once NGS come to an end here and they move on to the net product, will we actually get it in the West? I personally don't think we would. And as well as that, being on the content side, of no real motivation for new, bigger content creator to come into the field, have no motivation because no financial reason, Sega not exactly helpful either. And then when it comes to the viewer base itself, is of course most of us, like I said, it pretty much the players that either already playing, stuck in the waits, or bail and then come back every 3 to 6 months when we get an update or something big happen. And which in return, well, my whole ideal of to Sega give up actual numbers, once again, can't go by the Steam charts here, that PSO do feel very stagnant right now in the player base, as well as the viewer base for content creators as well. So, once again, I am just a little worried on that end, and also trying to just put my thoughts out there. Let me know in the comment below how you exactly feel about all this. Do you think is it fine, or are you like me and worry that we might hit a point where outside of 1 or 2 people, there might not be anyone covering the game at all? And let's be honest, deep down, all of us who make content about PSO, we are nothing more at the end of the day, no matter how much helpful we want to be to the community, how much we want to be, involved in the community. We, at the end of the day, are another marketing arm for Sega. And if we ends up bailing, or nobody really growing the content creation field, no new content creators are coming in, and in return, not that much promotion will be happening for the game itself, because we have seen how Sega have treated a PR as far like promotion here in the West. So this is one of them things that just feel like a very slippery slope to me. And hopefully I got my opinion across here and my ideal, and just like I said, my worry about content creation for NGS as a whole here. Once again, got nothing to do with the game dying at all, as well as any of the content creator we have talked about or showed off in this. Once again, no hate to any of them, because we all in it together and trying our best, but only so much we can do. And of course, at a certain point, how many of us are going to be around for how much longer here in the West? We will have to wait and see. Once again, let me know below what are your guys' opinion of it. And if you are a content creator, please let me know your guys' opinion on this as well, because I would love to hear more people's opinion on it, because it's always welcome. And yeah, a little bit of a downer here, but this is something, like I said, I've been rattling around in my head that I want to get off my chest and bring some light to some stuff that might be a little off the beating path a bit. So with that, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for me for today. I will be back tomorrow with any more PSO2 content, but till then, I will see you all in the comments.